Hello and good afternoon, good evening, and in some places in the world, good morning. Welcome to Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. And as you can see, well, we're loaded with friends today because we have two big guests joining us, as well as returning fan favorite Hargi Chani, and well, Keasante should be here momentarily. Folks, this is going to be a shorter show, give or take, maybe about 75, 80 minutes, simply because we have a pretty sizable panel, and we do have the one big topic. The one big topic that we are going to get into, of course, is some of the reviews and opinions and thought pieces that are out there about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Again, I have a lot of thoughts on it. I got a chance to watch IGN's video, which they gave it a 7 out of 10. I got a chance to watch the Digital Foundry video. I got a chance to check out Austin Evans' breakdown. And ultimately, again, I was on Colt's show this Monday. So if you missed that episode, I was there for about an hour and 10 minutes. We got a chance to talk about Indiana Jones and a bunch of things. Colt put out a tweet moments ago where he basically said, again, he's being a little facetious, sure. He's being playful. He basically says PS5 Pro reviews are in, and he has a picture of it with the PlayStation 5 Pro and says painfully average. And that is the rhetoric from most of the gaming media. I mean, we have not heard any of the fanboys because they don't have it as of yet. Sony rarely does send out those consoles to content creators of, like for instance, my size of a channel. I wouldn't get one even if I was a PlayStation 5 fan. I believe a guy like Mr. Badbit, who runs an incredible PlayStation channel, I don't think he got one because he would have been out talking about it. But before we get into what some of the the journalists are saying about the PlayStation 5 Pro, let's get into the introductions, and we'll start first with Don Otaku making his return appearance. Now, he is a Nintendo fan through and through, but he's here to talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro and his thoughts. Hey, brother, welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us.
What it do, everyone? Appreciate it. Boom. It's your boy Don Otaku, aka Don Solo, aka Solo to Don, aka Solo D Swaggy, aka Donnie Cochran, because it seems we have ourselves a hell of a case to solve, and the gloves just don't fit. So we are gonna be getting to the bottom of this PS5 prolapse.
So we are going to get to the bottom of it, and again, it's look. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to pile on any rabbits here. If you got the spendable money and the Pro is for you, I'm not going to poo-poo you. I'm not going to pee on your back and say that it's raining. I'm not going to do that. If you want the console, it's there for you to go buy. The issue that I have, and again, this is one of the biggest problems that I continue to, and I don't argue with anybody. I just keep seeing the rhetoric is, it's only $700. That is not, in fact, the case. That is a half truth, because I'm a person who has discs, right? I like to stand the PlayStation vertical. Now, I have mine horizontal, but there is a space if I wanted to put it vertically, and I would have to buy both the disc drive and the stand, which would make it a whopping $800+ closer to $900 after tax. And that's and where I have a problem is, one, this is 2024, a climate that fiscal problems has been a big issue for everyone. But even if I traded in my perfectly good working PS5 with the Spider-Man plates and the matching controller, I would get $389 for that at GameStop, which, to be honest with you, is pretty good for a launch console, because that's what it is. But I would have to put in nearly $600 to go get a Pro. And listen, based on some of the stuff that we heard, King David, it is, the math ain't mathin', as the kids like to say. You have a video that you are putting together. I'm not going to spoil it, folks. It is worded so perfectly. It is perfection in the making. I can't wait to watch it. King David, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm so happy to be. I'm meeting the Don. I'm hanging out with my guy Hard Geek, and I'm damn sure hanging out with my brother Boom. On the cusp of, Boom isn't lying. Smaller channels like myself and others don't receive Well, they wouldn't give me a PlayStation 5 Pro anyway, because of the content that I do produce is inflammatory when it comes to PlayStation themselves, because I don't sip the tea that they're spilling all over everyone, but I do patron their wares. Now, I'm not a fraud. I'm going to tell you I don't partake in anything that's PlayStation. Actually, I'm a video game junkie, and I purchase everything. I also really like to purchase museum pieces because hashtag no PlayStation 6 is real, and that's the last console that's coming out from these dudes, and I want to have a piece of history. So if you're like myself and you're a historian buff, please go outside and buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. You too can have a piece of history. The demise of Sony is at our hands right now, and I am so happy to be a part of history.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Cannot wait to get into your hot takes on it. But Hargeet Chani, welcome back, brother. Great to have you here. I see you're smiling from ear to ear as always. What we've talked about the last couple of weeks basically has come to fruition. The PlayStation 5 Pro is a farce. It does do some things, but I do not personally think that it warrants the $200 plus over the current PlayStation 5. And again, I'm not going to fight with anybody. If you want to spend the money, good on you. My issue is that they're not doing, first of all, there's no launch game for it. And King put it perfectly. I remember, King, and Hargeet, you know exactly where I'm going. When the Xbox One X launched, it got railroaded by every outlet from IGN all the way up the coast and back about not having a launch title to show off the what the console can do. And they made fun of them because they re-released the Fox game, which I beat again, which I absolutely love because I love platformers. But again, none of that.
Lucky Tales.
Yeah, Lucky
Tale,
Tales.
yeah.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's what they launched with, and even though I bought it and played it and beat it a second time because I love platformers, they did not have a launch title, and some of the stuff that's coming in regards to performance aren't coming for a couple of months. Like Gran Turismo won't be ready at launch. It's going to come at the end. Yeah, it's going to be patched in November. I mean, in early December. It's not going to be patched this November, which is kind of a bit of a miss.
Well, it's not like they can take advantage of that patch anyway. The patch is 8K. So, and I'm pretty sure that Hard Geek will get into the technicalities and Asante, but the majority of the individuals cannot take advantage of that patch itself. That patch is null and void for a majority of the individuals.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But Hard Geek, welcome back, brother.
Yeah. A little light week, right? But there's other things going on in the world. We'll leave that alone. But so this is it's out tomorrow, correct? It's officially out tomorrow. Yeah, and we're starting to get some actual information, actual specs, right? It's not a 4090.
The real specs. Yeah.
It's not a 4070. As people were
starting, not even a 380.
I'm like. Why don't you wait till the freaking thing comes out? We have no official specs. Just wait. Don't jump the gun. Oh no. Oh, fine. Whatever.
How many teraflops does it have?
So it's supposed to be 16.7.
16.7, yes.
And look, and I told people there's an RDNA 3 magic sauce, right? And they do this with the ROG Ally, and it's 8 point something. It's not. It's 4.2. or 4 points, whatever it is. And they do this double execution for certain functions. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you with the games.
Right.
So, and Digital Foundry, they outright said that double execution stuff is not helping you with games at all.
Yeah,
right?
It's not for that. Yeah.
So it's a marketing thing. And I'm like, cool. And it might help in certain like workstation workloads. Fair. That's fine. But that's not what it's for. So in the PC world, it makes sense. In the gaming world, you're just getting marketing fluff. So when they said 33, I'm like, yeah, this is obviously double execution. There's no way you're getting a 33 T-flops is like a top-end freaking PC card that costs like, $1,000, $800. They're not giving you an $800. It's not. It was not never going to be that, right? So and I've been saying this the whole time. It's going to be 16 point something T-flops, okay? They said, 45%, something like that. Well, you expect that to be 33 from 10? That's not 45%. So, just do the math. It was never going to be that. Why are you thinking it's going to be a 4070? A 4070?
Hope is a hell of a drug.
Indeed it
is.
Indeed it is.
I'm like, oh,
so Harky, you know what?
Equal, like anyway, whatever. We'll get into it.
No. You know what? I the gates are busted open. Right, this is already off the rails. You're having one of the infamous rants, and I want you to. I who am I to step in the way of this? Look, we've talked about this. You as someone who understands tech, like I said, I understand tech from a decent knowledge. I don't go into the particulars. I don't really care to. I just want to play my games and enjoy them. That doesn't mean I don't understand, but I do want you to break it down. Is the math and when it comes to the dollars? That's what I think the big question is going to be, because again, the other question, and again, spend as much time as you want, because it's just the one topic we're going to be talking about tonight. Who is this really for? Because interestingly enough, it's a great question. I don't know if there's an answer for it, but if you go back to the PlayStation 4 era and you look at how many PlayStation 4 Pros sold, it was somewhere around 15%. It might have been a pinch more of the populace upgraded to the PS4 Pro. Now, there's been several analysts, and again, I don't have the tweets in front of me because I will get them. I just, want to continue through this conversation. But if only 15% of the populace of 118 million consoles sold bought the PlayStation 4 Pro, how many do you expect in a fiscal climate the way we are right now, saying that, hey, take your old PS5s, trade them in, sell them privately, sell them to GameStop, sell them to Best Buy, whatever, take that money that you get and compound it with another additional $400 to $600 to get your PlayStation 5 Pro, when you're getting, listen, it's not the president of Sony or the co-president of Sony actually literally was out on the streets and said, please temper your expectations. It is not next gen. He literally said that. That is the co-president of PlayStation right now. Let's get your thoughts, your theories, and break it down why this is not worth it.
Well, so look, I'm going to say it's worth it for somebody who wants it, right? And the person who wants it is an enthusiast. And there are people like that. And look, we're all enthusiasts. I have a 4090. Do I need a 4090? No, a 4080, a 4080 Super, way more than enough. Way more than enough, right? But I can spend the money. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll get the 4090. Fair enough, right? So for that person who's like, I'm a PlayStation fanboy, I want to buy everything PlayStation, why not, right? Go for it. Now, the reason it's $700 is because Sony is done subsidizing the console. Hiroki came in and said, why? Tell me why. Xbox just said they're not even competing. So why am I going to sit here and take a loss? Tell me why. It's just that simple. It's just simple business, right? They used to do that to kill the competition. Well, they don't think they have competition. Nintendo, they said Nintendo ain't their competition, right? They said that. Right. And so an Xbox is saying white flag. OK, fine. So why do they care? This is why you need competition. Right. So they're like, well, if nobody's competing, we'll we'll make money. We'll sell it at profit. Why not? So I'm not blaming them.
Is it told they're actually making a profit off of it? I don't think so.
They originally started making profit on the PS5. And then I think the costs escalated. Right. We have the massive inflation go on. So I think they started losing money again. Yep. Which is why the freaking cost escalated, right? They actually increased the freaking price. I think the Pro, I think they modeled it to at least break even, if not make money on it. And the $700 without the drive is to make sure that they don't lose. I think that's the reason it's $700. You have to understand, this is an enthusiast box. There really is no good reason for it, right? So the visual upgrades you're getting here are not going to be significant. It's just not. Right. It made sense when you went from 4 to 4 Pro or 1S to 1X, because now you're going from 1080 to 4K. You could see it. It was very obvious. Right. What are you getting here is minor amounts of visual fidelity, potentially at higher frame rate. Right. That's kind of what you're getting here. Right. But you get the frame rates on your lower end box anyway. And instead of it being like 1800, it's going to be like 1200. Are you really going to tell? Not really. It's not the end of the world. But if you're an enthusiast, why not? Right? It's the same thing as 4080 versus 4090. If you've got the cash to burn, have at it, right? Fine. That's the way it is, right? And so, the average person isn't going out buying a 4090. They're going to get a 4060 or 4070.
But I thought everybody had a high-powered 4090.
It's not the case. No, people aren't going to spend $2,000 on a graphics card unless you really have money to spend, right? So it's just the way it is, right? Now, the average PC build is probably in that $1,200 range. It's not going to have the 4090. So you have the CPU, all the memory, everything, right? So that's where it kind of is. As far as the $700, yeah, it's pricey. But again, I just don't see why they wouldn't do it. If tell me people aren't buying it, it's still not selling out, but they're still selling them. And the people who are going to buy them, they're still going to buy them. So it is what it is. This is not going to be the thing that's going to sell, 50 million consoles. The other one didn't either. So if they sell 5-10 million of them, whatever, right? If they can make $10, $20 each, hey, that's money in the bank. That's all they're looking at. And there's enough enthusiasts that say, hey, it's a minor enough upgrade, but it's an upgrade. I'm going to buy it. Why not? So I can see it from Sony's perspective. And if you're a fan, hey, it's your choice. Yeah. The majority of players are still going to buy the low end box. That was the case last gen. It's the case this gen. Majority of people don't care. They don't. Power has not won generations. Almost never has the more powerful device won the generation. It doesn't happen. It's usually the one that has the games. That's what wins. Yeah. Right? Why is Nintendo winning? Because 10 freaking games every freaking year.
Yep.
So what they do, they just keep giving you games, their own games, right? On top of that, if you look at like PlayStation last gen, they did a bunch. They had a lot of high power, like high zeitgeist games. That's not happening as much this time.
Ain't got no
now you're kind of seeing it shift to Xbox, where Xbox's showcases are the ones that are banging.
What?
Right? And it is what it is, right? And we're still waiting for that really good, B or higher, PlayStation showcase. I haven't seen one for years. So it's just the way it is, right? And I don't know what their roadmap is. Nintendo just out of nowhere, hey, there's a Mario and a Zelda coming out this year. What? Who expected that? It just out of nowhere. Oh, okay, we'll just dump that. They still have like 8 to 10 freaking first-party games coming out this year. And it's an off year where they have a console launch coming up and they're holding their games. That's Nintendo, right? So they just keep selling because they just have stuff all the time. It's games that make the console, right? And it's the least powerful by a mile. It's the least
by leaps and bounds, not even by a mile. Doesn't matter. I'd say a country mile.
It got games. That's it. Yeah. It's got games. That's what people want. So if PlayStation is putting out a Pro with no games, this was the folly of the Xbox One generation. Where the games at? That was the problem, right?
They waiting for Xbox games.
Right, exactly, right? Now the roles are reversed.
The port begging is at its highest, bro.
Oh my goodness.
And he did. He went and bought all the studios, bought the publishers. Now they've got games. And the other side is sitting there, we're going to buy Bungie. We're going to go buy Concord. What was the studio?
Firewalk.
Firewalk. We're going to buy Haven. We're going to buy Savage, which became Neon Koi, which they just shut down. On and on. And
they shut down half of those studios. Dying. Bungie is gone. Everything is gone.
They're all dying. And then they told their studios go make multiplayer games, and then they cancel all of them.
So they whack.
So that's their roadmap. Look, it is what it is, right? So that's sad that they don't have anything. And like King, you've been saying, Astro probably should have been the launch title. Should have been the launch title. Instead they decided, hey, we're going to just sell the game. Okay.
You know what somebody told me?
Fair enough.
Told them my plan. And somebody told me that's stupid. They can make money. I said, well, they did your plan. And it didn't work.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe in revisionist history, I mean, because when you're dealing with low IQ individuals, they say low IQ things, and low IQ things just sounds like diarrhea, right? It's just like, I'm just opening my mouth just to talk right here. Let me wipe my lips, right? That's what it feels like to me. All right, me personally, I think, okay, well, first and foremost, the Pro is made for me. I'm an enthusiast, right? I have everything that they didn't want to get. I had the PlayStation Go, still got it upstairs, beautiful. I got 4 Vitas, they're upstairs. I got whatchamacallit, PSPs. I got them in 3 different colors. I'm one of those individuals that I see it, I like tech, I'm going to get it, I use it. I got a ROG and a Steam Deck. Why? Why? Because I like tech. I'm going to get it. Right? I also like to know where we're heading as enthusiasts, right? When you're on the cutting edge of technology and you see it coming down the pipe, you can pretty much gauge exactly how far we're going to go down the pipeline. I went with the AMD video card opposed to NVIDIA's video card for the simple fact my whole CPU is Zen. I wanted to keep in line with that. Also, I know about the shaders and the stuff that was coming down the pipeline. I could easily went with NVIDIA with what I wanted, and I would have been safe. But I saw the promise of Zen. I saw the promise of AMD, and I brought into the promise. Not saying that I was wrong or right. I have great fidelity on my stuff. Now I brought into the promise of the PlayStation 5 Pro. But my promise, their promise to me was different than what some of the individuals was listening to. They heard most powerful console, better than a PC, yada yada yada. You don't need to spend $2,000-$3,000. You can get this device. You don't have to tweak and twerk, and it's going to do everything that you want it to do. That, my friend, was a farce, a lie, and nonsensical. But
Yeah.
that's what low IQ people heard when they heard Sony speaking. What I heard was, we're going to output at low resolutions. The pisser in the box is going to take that resolution. We're going to checkerboard that resolution, and then we're going to put it through the pisser, which will double the resolution and keep the frame rate because it perceives that resolution at the native resolution of 840p. What? And I won't see anything different? Yes. So I can theoretically get AK stuff? Yeah. But no. Yeah, until we get ready to launch and then we're going to yank AK off the box. Ha ha. That was immediately
Which
the red
they
flag.
did, by the way.
Right? That's immediate red flag. They told you AK, yanked it off the box. They even went back and yanked the AK off the PlayStation 5 box. The reason why is because the throughput in which that they're actually achieving this is a farce and a lie. I lived through this between TurboGrafx.
Talk about it.
Oh, TurboGrafx, I loved you so well. In the 16-bit era, I picked up my Super NES, I picked up my Genesis, and I was in the house having such a great time. But I'm one of those wacky enthusiasts.
So we got the PC Engine.
Yes. So I ran out, got the PC Engine, and they said, well, when it came to America, 16-bit TurboGrafx, 16-bit power. If you go back and watch every commercial, they had you drooling. Well, when we opened it up, we found out the absolute truth. This was not the case. The case was they had 2 8-bits and they tried to slap them together and tried to come out with 16-bit. Well, that didn't work. That was an absolute lie. But marketing geniuses went with it. So they kind of got lumped into it in the 16-bit era where they really wasn't, but they got exposed because they weren't able to do what the others were able to do. This again happened with the Jaguar console. They tried to act like they were 32-bit. What happened? King, the enthusiast, runs out and gets the Jaguar. Now, 2 things that the PlayStation 5 Pro has in common with the Jaguar. The packaging. Cheap.
Garbage.
Oh,
garbage.
God, I knew I was in for a ride. Pause. When I opened the box and it looked like my console came in an egg carton, I took a deep breath. I swallowed. Pause. I looked and I said, they got me. And I knew they got me because you can tell immediately when you've been had. As consumers, you know when you sit down in a restaurant and they give you plastic knives and a plastic fork, you're not in a top tier restaurant. This is not Mr. Chow's. So, okay, I saw the box. I'm like, When I got my PlayStation 5, the box, not really good. I want the whole experience. I open up my Series X. Guess what the experience is? Top tier.
Premium.
Mr. Chow's. All right. So now you have this console. Again, I'm an enthusiast. It fits for me. I have the televisions that can take advantage of it. You need to add all the things around it in order to extract from it what you're going to get. I'm going to get the 3 to 5 frames extra that they're going to give me. And that's all. Now, is the extra, listen, guys, I paid the full boat. I'm giving my son my Big Bertha PlayStation 5, right? I purchased this to have for myself. So I didn't trade anything in. I didn't get anything off. I went in the whole way. Get the console. The console comes tomorrow. I'm going to do a live unboxing. But I have realistic goals for it. My realistic goals is those 3 to 5 frames that I thought was worth it for me. All right, playing it. Not saying that I had a real problem with the PlayStation. I don't play it as much. I play my Xbox the most, but I noticed the difference when I go from my Xbox to my PlayStation. The frames are more stable on my Xbox. All right, so what I want is the same experience that I'm having on my Xbox with my PlayStation. So that's why it's made for me. Do I feel that they lied a lot? Yeah. Is that marketing tactics? Yeah. Do I feel like it was Blastmaster processing? Hell yeah. When I saw 33 teraflops, did I say these dudes is lying? Flag on the play. That's exactly what I saw. I knew exactly what it was when they did it. And then it came out and people understand it for what it is. It's cool. But remember, and I want people to remember this. When y'all saw that the PlayStation 5 base it's really 9 teraflops, they overclocked the CPU. It's 10 teraflops and some change. And the Xbox came out and they were 12.7 teraflops. And you said those 2 teraflops really don't mean anything. Well, now that we find out it's 16 teraflops, and this is rounded up 13 teraflops. Those 3 teraflops don't mean anything. I want you to keep the same energy here. I don't want you to get out the box acting all crazy. We got the most powerful console. Technically, you don't. Your CPU is the same bottleneck that you had the first time, and you put this next thing in the box. And what you did, you took the GPU and you lowered the clock rate from the base. How the base PlayStation 5 has a higher clock rate on the GPU. And if you think I'm lying, go check the video, go check it out. It's the truth. This is the reason why you have the stuttering, you have the frame rate issues on certain things. But again, games that need that CPU can't utilize this. It's for nothing. And if you want 8K visuals and don't have an 8K television, you're not going to get blood from a stone. It's just not going to happen, people. I want realistic expectations for it. The 7 was perfect. I know some people is going to score it a little bit lower because they don't have the things to take advantage of it. But I'm harsh on the PlayStation because of the fan base. But I heard exactly what Sony was saying, what it was. It gives you lower resolution. It's going to give you a perceived higher resolution at a stable frame rate. And that's what I purchased.
You know, King, I like you to take this question. I think it's pointed at you. It's in all caps. So the person is apparently is a bit triggered. His name is Blustery A in the chat. He says, just be honest after you have played the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, Blustery, first of all, welcome. If you're a PlayStation dude or dudette, welcome. No foul here. You don't need to do all the caps, which is fine. But what we can say is everybody on this panel watched at least the Digital Foundry video, which I thought was incredibly clear in explaining exactly what people were getting, what people should expect, and how expectations should be incredibly tempered. King, you wanna take this question?
Yeah, I'm gonna put up multiple videos. See, what's the difference between me and a lot of the other people that you may or may not follow is I'm on Twitch daily.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Every day. So it's King David ILP at Twitch. You can see me playing my PlayStation, you can see me playing my Xbox. I got to hook up my Switch to it, but you can see me playing my video games there. I'm one of the only people that were pushing Astrobot to the gills. I was playing it every day, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I love video games. Now, if I don't like Sony, I don't like their practices. I've been around here longer than you to know what they've done wrong and who they are and who they're not. They're not the same people that I championed before. They're not the same people. And of course they're not, because the same leadership is not in place. So when Microsoft or Xbox does the same exact thing, when Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name, steps down, I want to see exactly what the Queen Sarah Bond is going to do. I want to know what Matt Booty is going to do. I want to know what these people in the building is going to do. Because if they pull a Don Matrick, I'm telling you exactly where I'm going to be. I'm going to be right there on my PC, riding my Game Pass to the sunset, because I'm not going to sit there and take it from any of these corporations. None of these guys give me anything. So if you think I'm being harsh on you, I would like you to post your receipt, post your games, post your gameplay, and don't put it in all caps. Just show me. Walk the walk like I walk the walk. Now, if you don't believe me, just go to my Twitch. I'm right there.
Yeah. He does daily videos, which is incredible, and he has another one coming out that is going to be extremely pointed, based on some of the reviews. And again, listen, you know what? You don't have to take my word, and if you want it, like I said in the opening, go spend your money. That's perfectly fine. But Don, I want to bring you in. I want to get your thoughts and your theories on this, because look, the reviews are out. And multiple avenues, multiple platforms like your IGNs and your Game Ranks, and everyone that under the sun is looking to do content on this, because it is a big topic of conversation, and obviously they need the click rates. So I'm going to let you have at it, because again, for me, and I'm speaking purely for me, I turn my PlayStation on 6 times a year. Unless there's something first party. I spent over 40 hours in Astrobot. It's one of my favorite games of the year. I make no qualms of that. I have championed that game since they first showed it off, and I put the work into it. I am literally missing one trophy for the platinum, and unfortunately, that trophy I'm never going to get, because that last board, those top tier boards, they can go take a flying leap through a rolling donut. I'm not doing it. So I'm happy with what I did and what I accomplished in that game. King and I, from 2 different sources, can confirm, King, and we talked about this both publicly and privately, and you said it in your spiel, Astrobot was taken out of the box at the last effing minute, and they dropped in the first one, which was a launch game for free on the PS5. We know that from a fact. 2 different sources. You can quote me on it. I absolutely can confirm that it was supposed to be in the box, and because they are hurting for money, they took it out and sold it separately. That is a fact. That's not even a suggestion. But Don, let's get your thoughts, because again, the reviews are out. I want to get, Hard Geek knocked it out of the park. King, another grand slam, but I want to get your hot take on it, man. Break it down.
Your Honor, the question of the day is the PS5 Pro a scam? For it to be a scam, and I don't mean the enthusiasts like yourself, like King. I'm talking about the people who were tricked possibly into buying this, the TCL folks. Is this a scam? For it to be a scam, that would mean that Sony gave us information about the Pro that wasn't in fact true. We just found out that the PS5 Pro is 16.7 teraflops. FP16, by the way, I don't want to go too technical. There's definitely better people on the panel for that, but they're using FP16 and not FP32, which would basically double the amount of T-flops on paper. But when you think of T-flops, usually PS5 is 10.3, that is FP16, Xbox is 12 teraflops, FP16. But if you were to use FP32 for the PS5 Pro specs, you would get 33.4 teraflops. Now, that is the number that we were given before the announcement of the PS5 Pro. And this was a rumor, emphasis on that, because we did not get these specs until now. So we never actually got confirmation from Sony themselves. But wait, RDNA 3, like Hargi said earlier, has a feature called dual issue, which in the most oversimplified way of saying it, it would make the 16.7 teraflops perform like 33.4 teraflops on paper. And seeing as the PS5 is using the Pro is using the full RDNA 3 suite of features, that means that the PS5 Pro is actually performing at that 33.4 teraflops. So it is, in fact, the true king. At least that's what the PlayStation Protector Posse have tried to spread with their PS5 propaganda. And as quickly as that argument was spread across Twitter, it was debunked by Digital Foundry, who I think we can all agree are a very trusted source on the subject, because that dual issue will not translate to the games. They reacted to the spec sheet leak and confirmed that this so-called RDNA 3 capable console does not use that dual issue in games. The 16.7 teraflops is the true performance spec of the PS5 Pro. This is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. No evidence is out there to refute this. So let's talk about price. A lot of people thought that Sony was selling the PS5 Pro with 33.4 teraflops for $700 USD, $800 if you buy the disk drive as well, which is a lot for most people. But you could make the argument that you're getting 3 times the power for a 33% increase in cost, basically. I'm not a physicist, so I don't even know if that math checks out, but I digress. And some could definitely see that as a fair price to pay for that type of jump in power. But now, with the actually confirmed specs, we're looking at a 60-ish% increase for that cost. And it's not looking as enticing as it once was. Then you throw in the real world comparisons between the PS5 and the Pro, and we're getting mixed results. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth performs as you would have expected the PS5 to perform, crisp, beautiful visuals at 60 FPS. But then we have Baldur's Gate 3 only seeing a 10% increase in frame rate while in the town, still hitting 40s.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 16 still not stable, and it's basically hitting a 10% bump as well. Alan Wake added some much better ray tracing, but the frame rate is still not stable.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing I want to bring up is that am I the only one getting deja vu? Because if we're looking to see if the Pro will be a success, we've already been here with the same generation. Hear me out. We got the hardware leaks, looked really solid, pushing higher than anyone expected. We got the announcement, and the price was way above what people expected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little too niche to justify launching at that price. 3, pre-orders went up, and it's selling out. Boom. Oh, everybody's talking about that it's selling out, except it was only the anniversary edition was selling out. It wasn't actually the actual PS5 Pro. And the PlayStation Protection Posse, they were out there saying, oh, we told you so. You know, we always are always willing to pay a premium for quality. And then the hardware launches. It turns out the PPP, the PlayStation Protection Posse, we're talking out their astrobots because they didn't actually support it like they said, and the hardware flopped. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the PSVR 2. And funnily enough, unlike the PS5 Pro, the PSVR 2 actually delivered on its specs and performance and was a great piece of hardware, but it still flopped. So, is that type of performance increase worth an extra $300? In my opinion, as someone who turns on the PS5 even less than Boom, hell no. But there are some that could definitely make that argument. It is subjective, and there are definitely people who do think it is worth it. So who am I to tell them what's what? So, no scam here, it seems. PlayStation's name has been cleared, and they are free to go. Or so you might think. My last point. Let's go back to what I said earlier. For the PS5 Pro to be a scam, that would mean that PlayStation gave us information that wasn't in fact true. But where did that 33.4 teraflops rumor even come from? Literally everything else in that leak was correct, except for this one number. How could that be? Conspiracy theory. Two possible explanations. One, controlled leak. They let that slip out on purpose, fed the leakers the wrong info so that people would be ecstatic about the potential performance of the Pro. When it was finally announced and the price finally dropped, without the full specs, might I add, they wouldn't be worried because the performance made it worth it. They get the pre-orders. Then right before it launches, we get the real specs, and the suckers have already been sucked. Pause. And I don't mean the enthusiasts. Again, this is the people who still rocking their TCL. They don't got the 8K, and they thinking they got bamboozled into thinking that this was going to be that next gen experience. And we know damn well PlayStation ain't giving no refunds if you got it through PlayStation Direct. Now, theory number 2. The legacy of flying, crying, lying Jim Ryan lingers on. We know Jim was a snake oil salesman. He must have had some interactions with the PS5 Pro in its marketing before he was, thrown out. What's not to say that his initial plan was to market the PS5 Pro with the 33.4 teraflops, using that FP32 marketing and do what he does best, lie his way to the top. That spec sheet probably would have said 33.4 teraflops right now if Jim Ryan was still here with us today. I wouldn't put it past him. So, Hiroki Totoki was probably like, nah, we're not doing that, cuz. And the leaker got a hold of some old information. So, did they actually lie about the PS5 Pro specs? I ain't saying they did, but I definitely ain't saying they ain't. So, my closing arguments. Is the PS5 Pro a scam? Well, that is not for me to answer, but for the jury and for the people to answer. But I will leave you with this. If you want to experience true power, save that money and get the Switch successor next year, because Nintendo is and always will be number one. Sarah Bond at Xbox are wrong too. The Super Nintendo Switch will be the largest technical leap we have ever seen in a hardware generation. Your Honor, I'll rest my case.
I love it. That was fantastic stuff, brother. Great conversation all around. You call it the PS5 Pro propaganda?
The PS5 propaganda.
Propaganda.
That was hilarious.
That's the best. Look, at the end of the day, don't get triggered. We're just having some fun, right? It's out. The numbers are out there. Please go watch your favorite content creator who has a PlayStation 5 Pro. Paris, I believe Paris put out a video. There's Austin Evans, which I absolutely love. That guy is great. You can go check out Digital Foundry. You can go watch. I watched the IGN one myself. It was broken down in a great way. The video was well done. I'm not even gonna lie. You know how I feel about IGN. I normally don't watch their stuff, but I really wanted to see what the 7. I didn't want to just read a 7. Like, oh yeah, they gave it a 7. I wanted to know why they gave it a 7, and they did. Listen, I have another question that I want to pose to the chat, but I want to pose to the panel as well. But before I get to that question, please let me catch up with the super chat. We have a first one of the day comes the way of Day Reezy, who drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says, I'm convinced Sirni was the real Wizard of Oz. Ponies follow the yellow brick road for him to say, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. I mean, you're not wrong. Not wrong. Hey, we got Luke Lord, Halo extraordinaire in the chat from Xbox Expansion Pass. Fan freaking tastic, YouTube channel that you should definitely check out. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, cheers to the incredible panel and chatting. Well, cheers to you, Luke. We got to definitely get you back on the show when you maybe get a break with the kids, because he is a teacher and a damn good one at that. Not Gonna Lie drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, love King on here. Better choice than Addict.
Wow.
I mean, listen, everybody loves Lord Addict. He is who he is. You know what? We love him for what he is, and he's a big member and a big part of ILP. So shout out to Lord Addict as well.
Pause it for He said he's a big member. Hey, yo.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, no
That's
Diddy.
wild.
Holy
That's wild,
matrimony.
crazy.
That's wild. That's some crazy stuff right there. Somebody call an exorcist. RC Polygons just a very generous $5 super chat and says, not going to get political. We should expect Lena Khan to leave the FTC and expect more mergers and acquisitions overall. Xbox buyout of Take-Two. I mean, we're not talking about that today, but I am going to say that she's gone. Yeah, she's definitely out of there. She's stifled business in America. And again, I don't think she's a very educated woman. I don't take anything away from her, but I do think that there is a bit of arrogance to the way she conducted herself and the way that she has used the FTC as a sword and shield. I mean, think about this. And again, I try to dumb it down as simplistic as possible. The entire planet has approved this deal, but somehow Lena Khan and the FTC think that they're right. I'm just saying. Just go with that, and we'll see exactly what is happening here.
But didn't they find out that she has secret meetings with Sony? I mean, all that stuff. And,
there was that conversation.
The CMA. But Sony had meetings with the CMA. Just hours before.
They can have meetings with Sony. They can. That's totally fine because they're a competitor. They can absolutely
do it with the CMA.
They can't do it with exactly. They can't coordinate a regulatory approval with other regulators. Yeah.
Right, which is what they did. Yeah, which is what they did. That's abuse of power. That's what she's being investigated for right now.
Well, do it at your next job. It's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it at your next job, indeed. Nino Vestek, our generous friend, all the way from Hawaii. So aloha, kind sir, and thank you once again for donating one Double Barrel Gaming membership. We super appreciate the generosity and the continued support. Lastly, Will Broke Boy Lewis, our good friend and generous friend of the channel, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the PS5 Pro, the Concord of consoles. For my reading, Concord wasn't a bad game technically. It's just that it wasn't needed. Same can be said for the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, look, I'm gonna say this. You gotta look and you gotta gauge. Look, Sony is a billion-dollar corporation. Let's not get that twisted for a second here. But you also have to understand that they have made a significant amount of bad investments over the course of the last 18 to 24 months that have not paid dividends. And obviously, they had to do a lot of things. They've closed a bunch of studios. PlayStation VR 2.0 is a flop. Even when they brought it to PC, it flopped. You have to look at what happened with Concord. $400+ million gone. Bungie is a $3.6 billion investment that seems to be a bit of a bust, right? I mean, listen, the Final Shape was a great piece of content for people who still play Destiny. The problem is that it was revered by reviewers. It didn't sell. And when you don't sell, well, things happen. And we know that right now, Bungie is a freaking mess. Marathon, they're supposed... I mean, did you see that marathon video that the guy did? It was terrible. That was freaking awful. And I only knew about it because I watched Destin Legari's video on it, and he seemed pretty vexed about the way this guy conducted himself. No information whatsoever. Why even bother? That is what Bungie is right now. They are a shell of their former self. So,
well, they're Sony now.
well, I mean, what you got to look at is with the Pro. What happens if this thing comes out tomorrow and it sells a 1.5 million copy, consoles, 2 million, and the rest of the year it staggers? What happens then? They spent millions and millions of dollars of investment on this console that is going to probably equate to about 6 to 8% of the PlayStation populace. That 53% of PlayStation 4 gamers that are right now still on their PS4s, do you think they're selling their PS4s for $73 to GameStop to then go buy an $800 console?
You could say their last three hardwares have been flops. The PlayStation Portal.
Yep.
The PlayStation whatchamacallit, VR2.
Yep.
They completely abandoned it. They are just selling the stock left on the Portal.
Yep.
Because I honestly thought the machine was going to be at least $400 because I thought it was going to have some tech in it that you were able to download your game just and walk and go. It just absolutely made sense. But after seeing the device, that's how I lost the bet to, I think it was Tom Henderson or Tom Warren, one of the two. I lost the bet because of my thought of I gave him too much credit.
Yeah.
And this Pro, I think this Pro is mismanaged. I think the message is muddled. And the last time we saw a mismanaged, messed up, muddled message of a console, which was the Xbox One, you already know the results of the sales figures.
Yeah.
So I believe, honestly, because I posed a question earlier on Twitter, how many missteps and flubs does it take before they hang it up? Because if you're looking at, and I'm objective here. I want y'all to really just be objective here. Concord, which was absolutely the absolute worst game ever in existence. And I'm talking about from a sales metric to a delivery date to a shutdown date, 11 days. Haven't seen it. Even ET had a longer tail. And I'm talking about that was the worst game ever. And this game said, hold my beer, I got you. And on top of that, I'm going see ET made money. That's the thing. ET sold buckets. It was just people was mad as hell when they got it in the house. This thing, you know how bad it is when Sony gives back the money. That'll let you know how little, how small was the purchase demographic. It was so small that they said, just give the money back, and they don't give money back for anything. All right, you could be hacked right now for millions of dollars on your account. You're out of luck, buddy. We got your money, and that's it. They're giving back nothing. Okay, so you saw that the PlayStation VR. High price tag sold to me and a couple of other guys. They threw it to the PC. They didn't care about it so much that they threw it to the PC. They tried to make some money back by giving you a pass-through that really had nothing in it. If you cracked it open, all it was a wire to another wire to a pass-through to a fake little circuit board. That's all they did. And they charge you $40 to $50 for this pass-through. And they kept back the features that will make that piece of tech great on the PC. So they hampered it and gave you the middle finger while you was walking out the door that you got this, because you cannot use this tech on the PC and feel great about it. It's a piece of tech that wasn't necessary because you had better tech in the meta space. Now you have this PlayStation 5 Pro. You don't know who you're selling it to. If you have an 8K television, you can take advantage of it. You don't have a game that can show you the technology. And then you have the base PlayStation 5 keeping up with it or outperforming it in some spaces. Again, I feel that this is a loss. When is Hiroki going to just pull the plug on the PlayStation as far as, let's stop the hardware? We're not, okay, you're selling hardware, but you're selling it at a loss. You're not making money off of hardware because you're just reaching margin. Why don't we just sell games and make money? Why don't we put our games on PC day and date like they're doing now? Why don't we put our games on other consoles like they did to Nintendo, and like they're going to do to Xbox, like they're doing the Xbox now? Why don't we just make money off of the software that we do sell, because we're known for software? When is that going to happen? Hashtag no PlayStation 6. I'm just saying.
Well, no, listen, first of all, fantastic points of view. And I do want to do a round robin. Again, this is not going to be the longest show. It's probably more of a shorter show than normal because, again, it's the one topic. But I do have one additional question. I'll go right back to Hargeet. So King basically set it up. He lobbed it. So I'm gonna smack it over the fence. But my question to you is, what if this fails? What if the PlayStation 5 Pro is a bust like the VR 2.0? And here's why I asked that question. Not because I'm trying to be a troll, not because I'm trying to be extra pointed or make fun of Sony. The question is, what happens if this sits on a shelf like the PlayStation VR 2.0? It has good tech, but the price is outpacing the want. People cannot afford a $700 minimum. If you are a digital only gamer, most of these digital only gamers stand their consoles vertically. The thing is even bigger than the Slim. It is a monster sized console. I don't know if you can, if you have the space in your entertainment center to lay it vertically. If you are someone that enjoys not being pulled by the nose, see, Sony they're slick. Okay, they want you to go digital because then they will lead you around by the nose and tell you when there's a sale. Last year, all the big Sony games that I didn't spend $76.43 for got for half price, brand new, the disc versions. And there's nothing wrong with having the disc version because I paid less than half of what they were. I paid $31 for Final Fantasy 16. I paid $32 for The Last of Us 1 remake. I don't even remember what the other one that I bought. I think I paid $33. So it was like 31, 32, 33. So what it would have cost me for 1.5 games, I got 3, but because I bought them on disc. You can't buy digital games of Sony's ilk from somewhere like a CD's Keys. You could only buy it from Sony. That's why they lead you around by the nose, because they detail and dictate the prices. That's why I have a disc drive. So for you, Mr. Digital Only, it's $699.99 plus tax. If you want to stand it vertically, that's another $30. If you need the disc drive like I would, that's another $80. Listen, I've rambled enough. I want to get Hargeet's take on this. What happens if this becomes a PSVR 2.0 situation?
So, look, the only negative here is if they mandate, and I think they are starting to do that, mandate that you have to make a PS5 Pro enhancement for your games, right?
Mhm.
Because then it becomes a burden on the developer if there aren't enough of them to warrant the work, right? And so then what they'll end up doing is the minimum effort, right? Basically just say the hardware is there, we're gonna unlock it and let it do its thing, right? And so if it gives you more, it gives you more. We're not gonna actually tweak and twerk for you and make sure it'll take advantage of the full.
They'll just release the pisser.
That literally is it, right? They'll just say, "Hey, enable the PSSR or pisser, and let it just do its thing." Whatever it does, it does. We're not gonna really spend too much time on it because what will be the incentive, right? So if there's a good 10 million of them out there, okay, then there's an incentive to say, "All right, we're gonna do this." The other incentive is to say it's if they want to, if they're marketing, saying this is what it looks like. But gee, if that was the case, that last showcase they had, why didn't all the games they're showing show the PS5 Pro version? They were showing PS5 gameplay. Not even their own stuff was showing Pro enhanced stuff. So I don't know. Look, there might be that it was just too early. Okay, fine. Maybe that's it. But that's going to be the issue, right? It's if the hardware doesn't get adopted, it's a burden on the developer to actually do anything with it. So you're going to get minimal effort. It kind of feels like what's been happening to Xbox, right? Where when games are made, they're ported to PS5 first, then they come over to Series S because that's the one that takes the most effort, and then whatever power is available with the X, they just say, yeah, go ahead and use it, right? Instead of actually tailoring the game to the Series X, right? Now that's not always the case, but in some cases, that's what you end up getting, right? So I can see that same thing. Now the Series X, there's a lot of those out there, right? It's like now 50-50. There's a lot of them out there. So it's beneficial if you're going to target the platform to take advantage of it. But in the beginning case, it was kind of like that. It was like 3/4 of it or more were Series S. People were getting the cheaper box, right? And so that's what you target. And then you say, okay, maybe I'll do some work for the X because there's a smaller base of it. If that's what ends up happening with the Pro, well, that's what you'll end up getting, right? Now, I think they're making money off of it or it's break even. So at least as far as a loss, they wouldn't have a loss. Hopefully they didn't stupidly make like they did with PSVR. We'll build 5 million of these. And only like 1 million sell. And you're like, oh, what do we do with these?
E.T.
E.T.
Right. So that would be the only downside. But look, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll sell through their inventory. But that is the key, right? If they don't get to a threshold, it's just burden. And I don't know where they are because at first I heard they're not going to force it. And I think they've been now saying, yeah, they're going to force it. That if you're making a game for PS5, it's got to have a pro enhancement or I don't know, whatever. So if they go down that path and say, hey, it's just a certification, you can choose to do it, you'll see fewer games choose to do it if there aren't enough of them out there. Because it's just work, right? Your big publishers will do it. Your smaller ones will be like, yeah, whatever, right? So your indie game is probably not going to care because like it's just work and if there's no value to them. I mean, you just think about like a 2-person team or something like that. Why do the work? It's just too much. Like why, right? So that's kind of what I would see. That's the downside, right? In the case of PSVR, that's a whole other story. The problem with that one is you're making a game that's specific to VR, right? You are taking away the full install base and saying, I'm not targeting the 60 whatever million. I'm targeting PSVR. That sucks, right? Because you got to get a big chunk of those players to buy your game to make it worthwhile. And if there aren't enough of them out there, there's just no math that makes it worth doing. That's the problem with that, right? And that's why there's few and far between on the games that come out on the VR side. It have to be like an indie because why are you going to waste money on it, right? And so that's the big problem. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? So you don't see big third-party, massive AAA thing coming to VR because, well, they're not guaranteed the sales. It costs too much money to make these things as it is, right? So that's the headache. So PSVR is a whole set of headache, right? But in the case of this, at least it'll run all the PS5 games. It'll run all the backward compatible PS4 games, right? So you've got that at least. It'll just run as it is. It does what that we've been getting with the 1X and the Series S and X, right? We get the enhancements for backwards compatibility. They're starting to do that now. Yeah, so they're starting to do that now. It's like, welcome to what we had like a decade ago. You now get to have what we've been enjoying for a while. It'll up-res some of their games. That's cool. So it, hooray! Like finally. But that's cool. So they're getting that capability. But outside of that, like that would be the thing. I don't know if they don't sell enough, but look, I think they'll sell a reasonable amount. I think it'll still be in 5-10% in that range. So it'll be fine. But I don't think it'll flop. Either way, at least it's a PS5. It will run all the PS5 games.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So you at least have a console. So the only thing is if people will spend time on it to make it
special,
take advantage of it. Right. So
like Alan Wake with the filter.
Exactly. Right. And there was another game that they were showing where it was having issues. It was worse.
The Ratchet and Clank
than the PS5. No, I don't think it was
Ratchet Baldur's Gate.
Maybe, I don't know, but there was one where it was running worse. It was not enhanced, and it was running worse than the base PS5 on the PS5 Pro. And you're like, well, why would that happen? So it was like lower frame rates, and you're like,
oh, you're talking about Veilguard.
Maybe I don't know if it was
Yeah,
built. I don't
Veilguard
know.
looks
Whichever one it was, it
real
was
good.
like, well, why is it doing that? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, you talk
So
about the pop
something
in with the
funky is
grass
going
and all
on.
that other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing
So
happened with the PS5 coming from the PS4. They had certain games without like the actual enhancements. Some games ran worse on the PS5 than the PS4. So that's something to do with whatever software that they use when it comes to their backwards compatibility.
Yep.
Well,
so yeah, well, whatever.
Listener.
we
So
will.
I don't know that it fails, but
I mean, we'll see. I think it does. This is just my take, King. I think they are ice skating uphill because of the
Yep.
price. That's just my take. So real
I like
quick,
that Blade reference.
yeah, I love Blade for that. 'Cause he said it a different way. He said it a much more violent way, which I don't want to say on the air. But shout out to Polar. I think it's Polar Knights. He says, as a barber, always loved this show. It is a perfect evolution of beard growth. You see it every stage. Look, see me, then of course it's Don, and then of course it's King, and then it's Hargy. That's
Hargy.
That's
Yeah,
great. I love it.
my struggle beard doesn't make it, bro.
Listen, I hate beards. Sorry, it's not that I hate them. I can't wear them because it itches the hell out of my face. But listen, King, let's get your hot take on this because I'm not being facetious. I do think that they outpriced themselves.
Yeah.
I understand that they don't want to take the loss. I understand that Nintendo's going to Nintendo and Xbox is like, listen, we're just going to do our own thing, and they're winning. Right? They may not be selling consoles, but that's not the metric that they're going for. And you're going to see Sony eventually get there. But this was not the right move at $700 to start, especially when they're good. There are a lot of digital gamers, sure, but it's not the entire populace. And
especially for them,
yes.
I think it's like 49%, something like that.
So what are your thoughts on this? What if this fails, dude? What if it just sits on shelves?
Well, first, I don't believe that the theory of them thinking that Xbox isn't competition warranted that price. I have a more sinister thought.
Okay.
See, people fail to realize Xbox did show you new hardware. Boom has the new hardware in his house right now. A beautiful Galaxy edition with a disk drive for $599 in his house right now. And it did do something that was a little bit different. What it did was it did do vapor cooling. It did lower the system on chip to a 6 nanometer. I'm talking like I'm a developer. Get out of here. Or I'm an engineer. But I can tell you what
the chip is smaller. There's no doubt about it. It's
more
significantly
efficient.
smaller.
It's more efficient. It's quieter, if you can even believe it. I don't even think mine's making sound. It's quieter. It less the heat, whatever. Anyway, $600. Now, you know what they did? I know Sony wanted to put that Pro out for $600. I know they did. But they can't have it coming out the same price as the Xbox. We're not premium. Well, we're on the same block as Xbox. This is not the most powerful console. Can't be the same price as something that is inferior, right? So we gotta say $700. You think they'll go for it? F yeah, yeah. And you know what we'll do? We'll yank whatever can make any sense out of the box, like a stand, like a disk drive. And to further exacerbate the point, let's nickel and dime the hell out of them and put the old game in there and make them buy the new one. Yeah. $700 is good. When it's all said and done, how much you think we can get them for? We can get them for a cool G. Easy. And yo, on the site, shipping is free because mine shows up. Shipping is free. Sony is all cool with that because you're buying direct from Sony. There's no middleman. They don't give a damn. They'll ship it straight to you. Overnight delivery. They do not play. I got the tags. I got everything. Overnight. Next day, you got it. Boom. Tomorrow it'll be here. The thing is, I think the marketing let themselves down. Now, you can only look at who's in charge right now. I blame all his fiascos on infighting and Herm.
Yes.
Wrestling control from somebody who has the grasp of control in a moment of weakness weakens the company as a whole. When you have to take Hiroki from, he was at the heights. He was not down here meddling with you peasants. You understand? You brought him down from the Eiffel Towers up there. He was beautiful Sony movies. Oh, we have transistors coming in. We got TVs. Oh, we have problems with PlayStation. All right. You're going to go down there and hang out with those guys. Yeesh. All right. He goes down there. He said, honestly, I don't care about none of this console war stuff. I want all you guys up against the wall. I want to see what your financials are. Looked at Bungie. Said, we spent $6 billion on these dudes. Did you see? That thing is a shambles. I mean, y'all make good stuff, but your paperwork is trash.
He
like
literally
you
said they don't know how to make money, bro.
They don't.
He really literally said that.
So then they start going down the line and start asking people like chopper, chopper, chopper. They Jason, chopper, 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 chopper. Right? You hear kill, kill, kill. Chopper, 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 chopper. Right?
Oh,
but then
goodness.
Hiroki turns his back and Herm shields Concord. No. They're the next Star Wars.
It's our Star Wars. Yeah.
It's a pillar. It's a pillar. And damn Horizon. Nobody wants any damn Horizon. But he keeps shoving this Horizon down your throat. Pause. He's the reason that y'all have no direction. He's the reason that all those games of service has failed. He's the reason why you don't have a roadmap. Now, if you look at the reason, he's been pushing Horizon. He pushed Concord, and he's still pushing Horizon. Y'all will fail until he's gone. When he's gone, then you're going to go back to an all Eastern team, if you look at it from the outside. When y'all got rid of, I forgot her name.
She was the one that was in charge of all that put out all those games over the years. She's the 20-year veteran.
She had this. She had that. That's priceless. It's called the eye in the business.
Yeah. Yep.
They can see somebody come in the room and say, man, he has the touch. He has it. That's him. We can put our money behind him. We can do this. You lost her. You lost the eye. You lost the ability to discern what's good and what's bad. You lost the ability to navigate through these tough seas. And right now, I feel that Xbox is at a place where greed controls all. Xbox is making money hand over fist. I talked to Boom about the mobile game of Call of Duty. Downloaded 1 billion over the lifetime of the game, but the microtransactions must look incredibly crazy right now. It's like somebody giving you a McDonald's franchise in the heart of Manhattan, and it's just making money. And
her name was Connie Booth.
Yes, and it's just making money.
Oh, dude.
Microsoft is making money hand over fist. They're printing money. Y'all not the same competition. Y'all not competition. This is true. Y'all not competition. They're looking at other people. The problem is right now, I don't think that this time that y'all are going to be able to get out of this one. I think this quagmire that y'all in, it's bad for you because you're not going to be given the grace and the ability to have the time to catch your breath. I don't think that happens this time. A lot of times Microsoft fumbles the bag and y'all have the ability to catch your breath. I think it's too many people invested in making too much money with Microsoft and Xbox at this moment right now that, champ, I'm putting the towel over your head and I'm going to call the fight because you're making yourself look bad. You no longer look like the guy that I loved. Like, I swear to God, like you don't look like him no more. Unless you got something up your sleeve. I really hope you do. I really hope, because when you had that one thing, that just one, that Ghost of Tsushima, you fumbled that. I saw the script for what it was supposed to be, for what it is now. You fumbled that. I don't think you're the same person, and I don't really think you escaped this. Do I think this thing sells? No, not for $700, but I do believe that you're going to see an uptake in Slim sell for Black Friday. I predict that the PlayStation wins Black Friday this month because they're going to win it with the Slim, not the Pro. But they're gonna lump all those sales up together, so they're gonna play a little smoke and mirrors. But I honestly believe that the PlayStation Slim is gonna save the day for the PlayStation when it comes to hardware sales. Software, I don't know where they're gonna land, but hardware, I know the Slim is gonna save them, not the Pro.
All right, good points all around, brother. Listen, Donald Taco, before we get out of here, let's get your thoughts on this. What if this console, which is $700 to start, $830 plus tax if you need everything, what if it's sitting on shelves? What if it pulls a PlayStation VR 2.0?
Yeah, so like I said, they're following that same roadmap that they did with the PSVR 2. But I do actually agree with Hargeet that I think the reason that this console is $700 is that they didn't want to take a loss on it. And I think they're either breaking even or they are making somewhat of a profit. I think the reason that they are doing that is because I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but they have been taking a lot of strategies from Nintendo since the start of this generation. And honestly, they've been trying to take cues from Xbox and Nintendo. But you can see that Nintendo in them when they don't drop the price of their games anymore. All the games that launched with the console 2020, 2021, 2022, they're still $70. That's a Nintendo strategy.
Yeah.
And the console is not dropping in price. Nintendo hasn't raised the price, but they went even further because Nintendo wasn't dropping the price. Now they raising the price. But they also think that they think that their games are the sellers. They think that they are Nintendo now. They think that the PS4 gen kind of gassed them up a little bit. They thought that the people were there for the games, the first party games. That's what they thought. But we're seeing that their output and even the big sequels, the Spider-Man 2s, the Ragnaroks, Horizon Forbidden West, they are not hitting the same numbers that they were doing in the PS4 gen. They are not going up from the PS4 gen. And one thing that a lot of Nintendo fans and even non-Nintendo fans wanted with the Switch was that Pro. The Switch, it's a great piece of hardware in 2017 as far as a handheld, but it struggles with a lot of non-Nintendo software and some Nintendo software as well. I can admit it. Okay. But a lot of people wanted that Pro, that mid-gen refresh to kind of give some more life, give it some more power to be able to play these games that have been struggling on the Switch. And a lot of people, including myself, and a lot of people, including myself, thought that was just a surefire thing that was going to happen. All the rumors were pointing towards it, but it did seem like that was something that was going to happen. And it also looked like at the last second, Nintendo said, nah, you know what? We're not going to do this. And now that I'm looking at the PS5 Pro situation, I think they should have followed Nintendo. That's the one time they decided not to follow Nintendo, and look where they at now.
No, that's a good point. Look what Xbox did. Xbox was originally, remember we saw the leak from them.
Yep.
They were going to do mid-gen, and they were like, you know what, we're not going to do it. And I think that Hargeet has said this numerous times, not only in this show and other shows, that this PlayStation 5 Pro is going to cost Sony minimum a year when Xbox puts out their next console. I really believe that. I think Hargeet's onto something with that.
Yeah, and you see
that's
both
why
of
the
your
prophecy is what it is.
You see both of your competitors back out of their plans to release a Pro, and Xbox is doing better than you on the big games, the revenue stream of Game Pass. They're doing the sustainability of their business much better than you. Nintendo, they're doing the games, the software, first party, selling games. That is their sustainability. They're also doing that better than you. Obviously, these two are the smartest people in the room. The PS5, PlayStation.
So they low IQ.
PlayStation try to pick and choose little tidbits, and then every time they decide, you know what, we gonna do something on our own. We got a plan of our own. We don't need to be taken from y'all. We can write our own rhymes. They write their own rhyme. Look, you can tell there are certain rappers you can tell when they wrote their own rhymes, and it wasn't written by someone who was obviously better than them. And
you said PlayStation Meek Mills,
and the PS5 Pro was definitely PlayStation writing their own rhymes.
Oh man, well, listen, I don't think I would have ever guessed that you can equate writing your own rhymes to how terrible I think the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to do, but you did it, and I love it. That is you again. Shout out to you because Bull's super fan drops a $2 super chat and says, "I definitely know." Oh no, this is something different. I definitely know James, whoever James is going to clip this episode. I mean, okay, I get clipped all the time. It's fine. Sub Bagels drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "So shout out to my guy Don the Otaku. That PPP line got me weak. Indeed, that was good stuff. That was really good stuff, Don." Will Broke Boy Lewis drops a generous $10 super chat and says, "What I would honestly like to see PlayStation and Xbox both do, and in parentheses, won't happen though, since they have so many digital consoles out there and sell disc versions as well. When you buy a physical, you get a digital copy." Yeah, I mean, that would be freaking awesome.
They were doing that. Literally what Xbox One was delivering.
Exactly.
Yes.
That was what they were starting with, right?
Yes.
The digital world. And then they got lambasted.
Yep.
For trying to do something futuristic, trying to set you up for what already is happening now. Right. And then they had to rescind it and say, "Oh no, it'll be a physical disc just like you have now."
Yeah,
but now we got a worse version.
They got spooked by it. That's what wound up happening, and they wind up canceling the plans. But look, at the end of the day, this was a fantastic conversation. Unfortunately, Kay Asante had something come up, so he couldn't be here. And it wound up working out because we really did knock it out of the park. We got to the one topic. We added a bit of a caveat on the back end. So I do want to do outros, but I do want to start with Don Otaku because, Don, you are an amazing member of the community. You are funny. Every time you've been on the show, you've delivered 10 times over. We definitely got to get you back, but I want to sell your YouTube channel. I want to see you get to what's your sub count right now?
So crazily enough, when I put out that tweet 2 weeks ago that I had just hit 100, 2 weeks later, I'm now at 326 subs.
Dude, beautiful.
Thanks to the community for showing up. Thanks you for retweeting that.
Dude, the talent's there, brother. People see it. So listen, we have 771 people watching live. Now that obviously is across we got almost 500 on YouTube and 303 on Twitter. I'm gonna drop his link into the chat. Please subscribe to this man. He's funny, he's thought-provoking, and he's a really, really good content creator that loves Nintendo. We don't have a lot of those. That's like straight up diehard Nintendo. Don Otaku, I'm gonna go and find your link, but I want you to sell your brand while I do that. Tell people where they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Appreciate you. So y'all can find me on YouTube at Don Otaku, Otaku, where I am doing the Project Untitled Gaming Podcast. working title. And that is a show that I do with my day ones. They are more casual for sure. They are more casual gamers, but they give a unique perspective in this community where I might be, as one of the hardcore gamers, going in a completely different direction than what they and like what they're thinking and what they believe when it comes to gaming. And I love that perspective that they give. But I also have the Dual Wield Gaming Podcast, which I do with my co-host Subagos of lordsofgaming.net. And shout out to him. He was just in the chat as well. But the Dual Wield Gaming Podcast, that is the hardcore one-on-one. I'm gonna say it right now, look, I think we're one of the best duos in the business. The Xbox
Nice.
2, we coming
Talk
for
that
you.
talk, brother.
We coming for you, Random Jazz. We coming for the title, you know. But I'm not only Nintendo. I love Xbox. I like PlayStation games. Now, like some people, I'm not a fan of what they're doing in the business, but I make my jokes about PlayStation, but there are definitely games that I love from PlayStation. And yeah, I'm just a gamer. I love everything and I love talking about games. So please give us a chance, check out the show that we do. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Pasta Feet F3ET. Don't ask. But yeah, you can find me there as well. But yeah, I appreciate you for giving me a chance to be on the show again.
Of course, bro, of course.
Getting to be on the show with King David, bro, legend. Always been. ILP is actually like one of the reasons that I am doing what I'm doing today. So that is a blessing to be here. And then Hargi Chani, always good to be here with you too. So yeah, this was an amazing show. I love it.
Well, brother, thank you so much for joining us. Super appreciate it. People are already saying that they're subscribing. I've already dropped your link in the chat 4 times. So please, I'll do it again while we get to King. King, before we get to your brother, Spartan661, who's been a channel member for 15 months, says, with this economy right now, the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to fail faster than the PlayStation VR 2.0. In order to play the headset, you had to have a PS5 to play. I mean, again, that was definitely a bit of a misstep for them. You can just buy the PlayStation 5 Pro and play your games. The problem is starting price of $700. I don't think that is going to fly in this economy the way it is. But listen, King, let's sell Xbox, your particular YouTube channel, because everybody knows that you're part of the Iron Lords. You've been with them for years. That's your brothers. That's your family. Everyone knows about lordsofgaming.net. But we want to talk about Xbox Frontline News. Now, this is a channel he started earlier this year. He's closing in on 10,000 subscribers, and everyone should. If you're not already subscribed, I don't get it. If you already subscribed to Iron Lords and you're not the king, I can't figure it out. You need to sit down on a couch and talk with me. We'll work it out. Go over and sub King David. King, sell the brand, brother.
First and foremost, I want to thank you for your invitation. We finally figured out a time that works, right? Right. And I did my video early. I did it early enough because me and Boom, we're always trying to figure it out. I did it early enough, and the video is going to go up at 8:47. I gave it enough time for this to breathe, and I'm also told people to go check it out. So that's Xbox Frontline News. I drop videos daily. Yep. It's not a podcast; it's a show. All right, and in a show, I'm there to entertain you. I'm not an insider. I don't want anybody to think that I'm an insider. If I do have inside knowledge, and if I am playing inside baseball, I'm not going to give you like definitives unless somebody tells me I'm able to do so. I don't want to bring attention to me. Actually, I want to bring attention to the community. So me seeing Don Otaku today, and Hard Geek Shani, let me tell you something. These are 2 people that were in the community that have transcended and ascended to platform, right? And you have to understand that's my whole goal. My goal is to ignite that spark in each and every last person inside the community. That's why I had a call-in show. It was live on Fridays to give you guys a voice. So I understood a lot of people are shy. So what I did was I revamped that. So the show on Friday, now that is a live show that I do on Twitch, is King David IOP on Twitch. And the reason why I take it off of YouTube, because YouTube is really funny when you do live shows opposed to video content. And I want to have the community come on, play fighting games, play every game. Members dictate pace. So if you're a member, you dictate what games we're going to play that day. And in there, also give away free food, $150 worth of free food. I used to give away coins, but some of them are not reaching people, and I'm tired of paying $10 to ship out a $7 coin every other week. But at the same time, I want the community to come together. I want us to be greater as a community, and I see it happening day to day. I want us to foster more civil discourse, right? Instead of just having visceral discourse that we have on Twitter so much. If you have a problem, I want y'all to fight it on Tekken, right? You don't like somebody, fight them in Tekken. Beat their butt in the game. That's what we do, and that's what we're about. We're gamers, right? And I don't care if you play on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC or Switch or whatever. The main thing is I am my brother's keeper, and it's my platform that I'm taking to make sure that I bring the community a whole lot closer. So that's my goal, and that's my mission. So Xbox Frontline News, and hopefully today, even with the divisive words that you heard me say about PlayStation, it wasn't directed towards anyone. It wasn't directed towards the PlayStation fan. What it is directed towards is PlayStation and their practices. But I walk the walk. I have the hardware. I am playing the software. I am talking about it from experience. So I'm not talking about it from not knowing, from a level of ignorance. I'm talking about it from a level of experience. And I've been in this game long enough to understand that these things come cyclical. So hopefully they can get their bearings. But we can do this journey together on Xbox Frontline News and also with Boom.
Thank you so much. Hey, King, if you don't mind, drop your link into the chat. People are looking for the link for Xbox Frontline News. So if you got it, drop it into the private chat. If you can't, drop it into the chat, and I will retweet it. Hargeet China, let's sell your brand, brother, because you have a couple of things that we want to talk about. One, folks, if you didn't know, he's an author. He wrote a book. It's called Emergence. And if you like N7, if you're a Mass Effect fan, you're probably going to dig the book. He's going to tell you where you can get it, multiple places. But he also, besides being on every podcast from here to Texas and all the way back, he has his own YouTube channel where he does content there. So you should be subscribed to him as well. Hargeet, sell the brand, brother. Where can people not follow you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel?
Yep. So my YouTube channel, Hargeet Chani One. Go ahead and subscribe if you like. And yeah, my book, you can go to shop.chani.us. It'll point you to Barnes & Noble and Amazon and all that. If you want, you can get the merch. You can also get a signed copy. So go there and get that. We normally would have Games Talk Live at 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Fonz is sick, unfortunately. He has the flu. So we will be skipping this week. We might pick it up on Saturday. We'll see. But yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to have that today. So next up will be See Money and Doodle on Friday, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, on Point for Gamers. We'll be doing night shift. It's usually pretty crazy, so check that out.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show as always. King David's link has been dropped in there twice, so if you want to subscribe to his YouTube channel, you should. Hargeet, I'm going to try and find yours. Hargeet, do me a favor. Could you drop it into the private chat as well?
Sure.
So I could just do that as well, and we'll kind of just do my outro, and then we'll get people to at least subscribe because let me see. Where's the private chat? Okay. Yeah, just send it whenever you can. So Don Otaku's YouTube channel link is there. King David's is there. And now I'm going to drop Hargeet Chani's, because all of these gentlemen, well, you can go to the show notes if you want to rewatch it or you got to the show late. Everyone's information is one click away. It's in the show notes, easy to find. But being that we have everybody here, while I do my spiel, here is all three links that you can go and subscribe. And again, it's just a matter of clicking it once to get in, clicking it a second time to subscribe. And if you're feeling ultra generous, you hit the bell icon to know every time they go live. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. A big thank you to all of the super chats. I'm happy to say that the 10 winners of the $50 gift cards that we gave away last Friday's Breakfast with Boom, everyone has gotten their prizes, so now I could rest easily. And of course, do not forget on the 20th, and I got to see, it may be the day after or the day before, I'll get the exact date. Mrs. Boom and I are giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2. And that is the $60 version, not the full-on $80 version. Because remember, we're just a mom-and-pop organization, and we ain't getting those games for free. We're paying for them. So, again, it's just our way of not only giving back to the community, but we are, quote-unquote, supporting the dev. That's right, 15 copies of Stalker 2 on the 20th. It launches. That week's Breakfast at Boom is when we're going to give it away. And, of course, the first 8 winners will be anyone that is a channel member. The 7 winners also on the back end will be anybody that's in the chat, and all you have to do to enter is simply put the hashtag into the chat, and you got to be here live. I got to see you in the chat. You got to put the hashtag in the chat live, and even if you're not a sub to the channel, you still got a shot at winning.
Yes, I told you hashtag acquisition season is still in effect. Private division picked up by an undisclosed buyer, but I'm hearing that undisclosed buyer is Microsoft, baby.
Oh man! Well, breaking news. So, well, listen, I someone actually had DM'd me for it, and I actually said that. I said, well, it makes sense for Microsoft because of the Outer Worlds and everything else, but a video is going to be incoming from King David tomorrow. I'm sitting down with C Money. That is going to be one of the big topics because I'm writing that show as we speak. And a Phoenix Freestar says Microsoft world domination, indeed, for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for checking out today's show. Big shout out to everybody on the panel. Big thank you to all of the super chats and the channel memberships that continue to support the show. If you missed it, I did a quote unquote unboxing video of the Xbox Series X wrap for Call of Duty. I also have the controller. I have both controllers. I actually have the Elite 2.0, which I got from Design Labs, and I also got the regular edition. All of that was unboxed today. It's up on the channel. The video is about 8 minutes and 1 second. It's pretty good. And it's there's an Easter egg in there. Of course, I say the controllers are heavy, but I really meant the actual console. But I left it in as a blooper. It is what it is. Please go check that out. And again, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.